Welcome to this podcast on AI and product innovation. I'm here together with my office mate, Jan Klawer, with Want to Taste. Jan is with his company like us at Wageningen campus, and we share the same office. And it's my pleasure to welcome you to share your experiences here in this podcast, and particularly because you are one of the leaders in this field within the business that you are doing. But I think you can best explain that yourself, Jan.
Sure. So welcome thank you for having me on the podcast. Indeed, my name is Jan Klawer, and I'm CMO and co-founder of Want to Taste. Originally, I have a background in digital marketing and data consultancy, but now since more than 5 years actually working for Want to Taste. Want to Taste is the world's first online platform where food and beverage companies can find, choose, and order all the ingredients they need. So where we sell online ingredients like flavors, colors, sweeteners, nutraceuticals, proteins, and much more.
Can you maybe explain a little bit why you started with this company? What was your idea behind it?
Well, that's quite a long story.
But
um,
long stories can be very interesting.
yeah, for sure. The main reason behind it is to give small and medium companies in the food business actually the same access to ingredients as the large manufacturers as ingredients. So typically in this SME segment, it is super hard to find ingredients and to order them also in the right quantities. And then that's the basis of it. Ingredients manufacturers actually like to sell ingredients, but they simply can't serve this segment because their processes are not set up for it. So the solution for this problem from both sides is actually digital technology and having a digital platform that brings together supply and demand of food ingredients just as easy as ordering ingredients or ordering other items on Amazon.
Yeah, so this morning I overheard a discussion in the office between you and your colleague. Yeah, you just had a webinar on salt, and the customer who was on the phone said that he was very satisfied with how you did it, how you managed it, and of course also shared the information. So I found it very interesting to hear that, and also to have your colleague actually, still explaining technical details behind it. Huh? Because many companies in that space still need a bit of support
Yeah,
every now and then.
yeah, yeah. That's the tech we bring to support development
Mhm.
of new products in the food industry. But we have the human aspect as well, right? So we have really food technology experts with lengthy experience supporting the project. So we call that hybrid, and we're trying to best put the digital world and the traditional world of interacting with somebody together.
So can you and you work with top class ingredient companies like the one that was doing this webinar. How many suppliers do you have on your channel?
Yeah, at this moment there's 100 suppliers, so 100
Mhm.
companies that actually produce ingredients, and all in all, these are 3,000 ingredients that they have on the platform in total.
Okay, so 100 suppliers, 3,000 ingredients for how many applications? Probably
I don't even know.
200. No, I
Yeah,
think
so
that's.
the major ones are of course the bakery industry, beverage industry, everything we call health and nutrition.
Mhm.
But you have a lot of sub applications in that. Of course, there's also the meat processing in the dairy industry, and then the
Mhm.
dairy includes or even things like ice cream. So there's many application areas. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that
We
brings the
don't count
complexity.
those.
No. But I think that's the core of, I think, your opportunity also with the AI solution, right? To
Yeah.
help people to navigate. But you're going to explain that yourself in much
Yes.
better language and words than I can do. But maybe the key question I wanted to ask you, say, well, you know, you know that there are many opportunities and challenges, right, in AI. So how do you look at it? How AI can help food companies or maybe the companies in your segment?
Yeah. 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 I think AI is now a quite a logical step in the evolution that many companies went through. So in many industries. If you're talking about food, of course, we went. If you look at decades back, we went to all kind of processes to make food production easier, just like production in other areas has been made easier. Then there was an automation wave, right? I mean, how can we automate things, not only in the food industry but also outside of that? So now the use of AI is a kind of the next step in that. And AI originally invented by Alan Turing, that is famous for his Turing test just after the Second World War. So since then, AI technology has been growing. Why has it been so quick in adoption in the last years? Actually, is because of the growth of data. And now we have with generative AI, which is the buzz of the last 1.5 years, we have a very disruptive application of AI that's also very easy to use for many people. And I think most people that listen to this podcast have actually used it. So Want to Taste is digitizing how we see it, the supply chain of ingredients to make it much easier to find and order the ingredients you need. So using generative AI, but also AI in general, is a very logical step for that.
Yeah. So you're seeing this as a next step in the evolution of the food industry, huh? And
Yes.
an easy one. I think that is important to understand. Where maybe ERP systems in the past weren't that easy or convenient to do.
I wouldn't call it easy
No.
to completely embrace AI,
Yeah,
but to take
yeah,
the first steps with generative AI. I
mhm,
mean, everybody knows,
yeah,
of course, ChatGPT by now.
yeah,
It's quite easy to
yeah.
actually start. It's not easy to do the whole process.
So tell me then about your system called FIFI.
Yeah, yeah, it's nice that you ask about that because we love talking about that. Um, it's our step into the Gen AI world. So as a digital platform, you already asked, we have thousands of ingredients on the Want to Taste platform, and we have developed our own AI powered copilot, as we call it. It's called FIFI, where it stands for Food Ingredients Found Instantly. So it's a very nice acronym we all found. It is built by us, so our technology development team has built it, and one of our co-founders he put a lot of time and effort into that. It's technically using the OpenAI large language model, but it only is on top of the Want to Taste ingredients and documentation database. So that's something that becomes very visible externally to customers and visitors on our website. Because if you go to wanttotast.com, you find our chat, like many other companies have chat. Um, but if you ask a question for a recommendation for a ingredient for a certain application, for example, let's say you want to reduce salt in bakery and you want to have, and you're asking the question there. So I have these baked goods. I want to reduce salt. What do you recommend? It's actually this mechanism behind FIFI that generates the answer. Um, which is a quite a step from where we were before. The good thing about it is that we can also, so externally it can be used, everybody can use it for themselves, but it can also be used internally by us. So our sales and customer success teams can actually not only search on our platform, because nobody can remember the thousands of ingredients that we have, but they actually ask internally, FIFI, okay, I have this application, I need to have this ingredient because a customer is asking it, and they can find it much easier than themselves. And for example, in plant-based proteins, we have maybe 60 different products, and I'm convinced that moving from a simple search to actually moving to FIFI, it's much better for the sales team to actually give recommendations. And one nice thing as well that we recently had an example of is that our sales teams are preparing themselves for customer calls, because they say, okay, the customer is a beverage company in this space, this size. They like to reduce the sugar in a certain a soft drink, and then actually they get that kind of not a script, but they get the right points to talk about to the customer already by asking it to FIFI.
Yeah, so in the past you needed to have a lot of experience, right? Maybe 20 over years of experience. You can now use the database behind it
Yeah,
to see what could be a good advice.
yeah. I wouldn't say it. No, so what you then would think is that, does it replace a person? But it doesn't.
No.
But the typical example of, salesperson hangs up the phone, and I forgot to talk about that and that and that ingredient. There will be a lot less, because all the relevant ingredients will actually be
Yeah.
shown to the salesperson to already
Yeah.
talk about.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, but I would think that this is a major benefit for SMEs, that they can get, some kind of direction for the problems that they're facing,
yeah,
instead of having to talk to a very big distributor that might not have the time, or the principal itself is not on the phone as well.
yeah,
So with this, they save time and they get a better information.
yeah, 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 indeed. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Well, then maybe the question is, yeah, well, I highlighted it already in maybe my answer, but why is it indeed so successful for you and for your customers?
yeah, from what I already explained, it's much easier to find ingredients for the right
Hmm.
application. So if a customer is going into a chat, if you compare it to previously searching, you searched for a plant-based protein, and you got a list of 60 results, right? Now you're saying, I need plant-based protein because I want to partially replace meat in this and this and this application.
Hmm.
Um, then you get tailor-made results, which is probably a shorter list, and you don't only get a list of ingredients, but you also get the relevant background information, right? With the key attributes already, links to documentation, links to the product. You use all of that. Just like, searching in Google used to give you a long list of search results. Uh, Google themselves is now moving actually to what is called a search generative experience, to actually have a kind of a summary already at the top. And you even have, maybe some of the audience are familiar with it, you even have tools like Perplexity that is giving you a summary with links on everything that you ask. It's kind of the between searching and and um, um, and ChatGPT. It's a kind of an amalgamation of these two. So we're trying to bring that as well on our
Hmm.
website
Yeah.
to the customers. An obvious one, of course, for internally for us is time savings, because they don't
Hmm.
need to search around, filter, and actually when they need to do suggestions to customers, it's a lot easier. And at the same time, we also started using FIFI to generate emails to our customers, so that actually a salesperson at the push of a button can say, okay, I want these and these ingredients.
Mm-hmm.
It is a R&D person in a company that is producing these and these baked goods, and they're in Germany. So actually, out of that comes the base, a very strong basis, I would say, of an email that they can actually send to the customer. So, needless to say that, well, first of all, the relevancy of these emails goes up because you can really tailor-made it towards what the customer needs. But also, it is a time saver because you don't need to type that entire email anymore. So it's
Mm-hmm.
on both ends. Is actually it is a win. Yeah.
Well, that's clear, Jan. I think I've got another question, but maybe I'll save that as the last question. But for what I wanted to ask you, and I'm very grateful for your generosity to share some of your experiences with other organizations. And the question is related to this. What are the things that you think are important when you want to get AI to fly in your own organization, from what you've experienced yourself?
Yeah.
Could you
Yeah.
mention a
So
few things?
yeah, I think there's a couple of things I can mention there. So I think the first thing is digitization, because one thing we are digitizing the supply chain of food ingredients as one to taste. And what we see with all companies, whether it is customers or it is our suppliers, is that digitization is very often very rudimentary. So if you want to go to using AI, or you want to use to go to technology at all, you need to digitize. So I would start with that. So think of your core processes in your company, right? What kind of systems do you use? Do you actually have systems for things, or are you still writing things down on paper? And I think a lot of people think, I actually do. How do you log things? For example, for your customers, do you have a CRM? If you don't know what a CRM is, you probably don't have one. And this is really the starting point. Why you need that? Because if you want to go into AI, you need data as well. You need data in points in a digital way. So, are you actually looking high level? Are you generating that data in your company? Because
Mhm.
whatever you want to do in AI, it needs to be fed with data. So how, if you're talking data, how and where do you store all the data about your products, right? Your customers, your stakeholders. What do you log and measure around all your company processes? In what systems is all of these data? Are these systems talking to each other, or is it separate spreadsheets somewhere left and right in different departments? So is it all accessible well? And then the third big thing is people. So the training of people, but also the mindset of people. AI and also generative AI is not an enemy, because there's the famous quote: "You will not be replaced by AI, but you will be replaced by a person using AI." So um, certainly Gen AI, so using GPT and all these applications around it, is a super simple thing to start using. And I think many people have already tried it. If I ask every time, like, how often do you use it? A lot of people say only once a month and not even once a week, which is very strange, because whether it's used for even text generation, processing, summarizing, you can give orders to ChatGPT, and it's a huge time saver that I actually used in the preparation for this interview as well. So I wanted to know, okay, what's the length of what we're going to talk about, and
Mhm.
it very easily ChatGPT is telling me that, right? It's just there's
Yeah,
just
yeah, yeah.
thousands and thousands
Fantastic.
of use cases. So, and everybody can
Yeah,
use that, but
yeah.
you can also think of using Gen AI for image generation or data processing, right? I mean, a lot of things we were doing in spreadsheets It's a lot easier if you feed it into ChatGPT, the spreadsheet, and tell you, okay, what do you make out of these
Hmm.
data? So one of the things we did internally in the company is, and it's the first simple step is to train the teams about prompt writing training. So a lot of the Gen AI tools now, they start with giving the right command, a prompt to do just anything you want, and actually getting all the different departments in your company up to speed and getting them to know, okay, this is how I structure a prompt, is something that is very, very helpful in their day-to-day work. So as said, we've done this internally, and we found it uh, a super useful thing.
That's very logic. But this makes me think actually about the times that Google came to us. They
Yeah,
were also learning how to search, and this is then of course writing a prompt with AI
yeah.
and having some similarity or some understanding in the company how to do that is very important. So thank you for that. I wanted to come to maybe the last question I had. Now you are here, right? And the future is there, or the future is there, or in another direction. So where do you think AI will be in a few years' time being applied in your company?
Mm. Because you talk about the future,
Yeah.
it's definitely, I think, the future is bright. I think there's more, uh, there's more positives to negatives, and I think that this will go into the positive direction. Yeah, so in One to Taste, we have a couple of things we're working on right now. So from what you've seen, from what we talked about, is uh, we already started with it. So we already started with doing it 1.5 years ago, with the first applications of Gen AI and the first steps in towards FIFI. Um, what we will now do is really embedding AI in our processes. So you and a lot of companies do that is they send, for example, marketing communications out on a regular basis. But so we have, for example, marketing themes, and we had, for example, the sodium reduction, which is a very important topic as a topic right now. But if somebody that doesn't know us comes to us next week after we finish the sodium reduction theme. Yeah, all the communications and all the information about sodium reduction that we typically send in calendarized emails, yeah, that will not come to this person. So we will use AI in future to actually get the right types of information around ingredients for a certain theme in front of the right person when that person is open to it. Because we might have a calendar in our company, but that calendar is of course is completely different in than the calendar of people that are our customers. So this is a first step towards it, and I think there's many more steps over the next years to come in that.
I can imagine, yeah. So you're creating actually a dynamic situation, huh?
Yeah,
And in a certain way also a long tail for the information that you have already produced or gathered.
yeah, yeah. It's dynamic and it's individualized, personalized
Yeah.
towards the person. Yeah, and that's as a marketeer, you think very often in segmentation. And there's the
Hmm.
famous buzzword of, yeah, the best segment is a segment of one, which is basically
Hmm.
individualizing,
Yeah. Yeah.
and not all the bakers together and
No.
all the dairy
Yeah.
manufacturers together, because everybody has different ideas, different
Yeah.
priorities, different challenges.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, you're only talking about the common denominators, and AI will help us in doing that, in
Yeah.
approaching and solving the problem that particular company is dealing with around whether it is sodium reduction or clean
Yeah.
label or or sugar reduction, for example. Yeah.
So maybe a question which I'm not completely sure if it's already available in your tool, but something that I know that larger companies are working on, and the situation is like, okay, if you are a larger company, you get all sorts of new suppliers coming to you. They promise you the moon, while you are looking for a certain ingredient that will gel at a temperature with a certain viscosity and maybe give a certain color as well. So do you think in the future that if I would be an SME company, I would come to your platform, I could say, well, I'm looking for my beverage with a pH of this and a maybe translucency of that, a viscosity in this direction. What would be the best ingredient that you could advise me?
Yeah. So this is in the this is something that right now a FIFI can recommend already. Yeah? So if you're a small manufacturer, medium-sized manufacturer, you go to the traditional distributors and you would ask these questions. Right,
Yeah,
I have these
yeah,
challenges. I need this
yeah,
viscosity, and uh,
yeah.
well, first of all, it starts with, will the distributor actually talk to you? Because if it's a
Hmm.
big distributor and you're called Mondelez or Nestle, they probably will want to talk to you. But if you're not called Nestle or Mondelez, will they want to speak to you? Because the first thing they ask is like, okay, how much are you going to buy from us on a yearly basis? But we don't ask that question on our website, right?
Hmm.
Everything is already on the website now and fully transparent, including the prices. And then now already you have the layer of FIFI on top of that that can tell you, okay, there's these and these and these ingredients options. If you're talking about the what we call technically attributes like viscosity of the end application, what will this product do? FIFI can already advise you. But
Hmm.
of course, with many more data points and with many more inputs and experiences that we actually have with certain ingredients, we are feeding FIFI with much more data. So I can
Yeah,
imagine that at some point, FIFI can really advise you as well in product formulations. Yeah,
yeah.
to a quite a far extent. Yeah, it's not something
That
we
would
will have next week, but
no.
it will evolve into that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think
And it
that
will
is
never replace,
super.
but it's more like taking the different points and taking experiences. As long we always say, as long as we have the data somewhere in our database, Fifi can actually do it. And with growing data in our platform, documentation, experience, product sheets, Fifi can amalgamate that into an advice that will actually help people in the lab. Like, I didn't think of this.
That's
Yeah,
right.
let's do that.
Yeah,
And then there's
yeah,
always, of course, the human people to to talk to. And I think this will be a super nice compliment.
yeah, yeah. Well, with that, I think I would like to thank you so much for sharing all your very valuable know-how and give an insight about where you are, where you're going to go, how you're going to fly yourself as a company, because I think you're already at a very high altitude with your company in terms of uh, yeah, the miles that you have made by implementing this and setting up the company. You will also be part of the masterclass, right? Where you can
Yes,
face to face explain a few things related to the summit, the 3rd until the 5th of September, which is really valuable and yeah, much appreciated. And I look forward to having you there and to be part of the team.
great. Yeah, we're looking forward as well. As Want to Taste as a partner, so happy to do the masterclass. And I hope to meet a lot of people there and to discuss with a lot of people and into what AI and food tech will actually bring for them.
Well,
So thank
okay.
you for
Well,
having me.
thank you and see you soon, neighbor.
All right. Okay.